We back with another video, man. Y'all already know what's going on, all right? Now, I've been sitting here for a minute, and I'm glad I came across another story that really connects the situation with now the 11th dead or missing scientist, right? Now, the woman that makes number 11, her name is Amy Eskridge. All right, this is her right here. Now, it's sort of made a new level as far as it being exposed to the public because President Trump basically ordered a probe into the 11 deaths and disappearances in hopes that it's random and not connected, right? So she herself was linked to anti-gravity and UFO research. Now, what you're going to find out watching this video is that scientists who get very close to groundbreaking discoveries in the research field of anti-gravity all have one thing in common. They eventually end up dead, up out of here, right? Very interesting story as it connects back to the very first scientists who basically discovered anti-gravity, right? At least on record. Now, this is her right here. And her name is Dr. Ning Li, if I am pronouncing that correctly. So let me see if I can find more pictures. This is her, right? We're going to get into her story in a minute. But just know, if you didn't know anything about this, it is very interesting. And these two women worked out of the same state, same city, Huntsville, Alabama. And we'll learn a little bit more about that from Amy Eskridge. It's basically termed Rocket City, the backyard for anti-gravity research and so on. This stuff is very interesting, very deep. And they've been canceling these people out for a very long time when they get too close to discovering something, or they're just not willing to give over that research in the way that the government sees fit. Check out this clip. It pretty much sums up what's going on right now with the 11th person. Mind you, she died back in 2022, so it's not, it's not new, but it's just being brought to a new light since Trump has now talked about, it being investigated. Check it out.
Now, an 11th scientist with connections to top secret government secrets who has died or gone missing within the last 4 years under mysterious conditions. And conspiracy theories are ballooning online. President Trump even addressing the ongoing mystery yesterday, confirming the U.S. government is looking into it.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be now. Hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you want it, whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next
National correspondent Nancy Liu is live in Los Angeles. So, Nancy, what do we know about this possible 11th case?
Well, Nicole, just before her death in 2022, Amy Eskridge had announced plans to present her groundbreaking work with anti-gravity technology. The 34-year-old had been openly experimenting in the field and founded a research company called the Institute for Exotic Science to establish a more public space for developments in anti-gravity work. Her death from a supposed self-inflicted gunshot wound has long been questioned since she had expressed that her life was in danger at the time. Eskridge worked closely with her father. According to NASA, Richard Eskridge is a retired engineer whose many projects included novel work on a system to propel a spacecraft with high-speed plasmoids. Well, I spoke with him briefly today, and he dismissed any link between the death of his daughter to the 10 other scientists who've mysteriously died or gone missing over the past few years. All had links to government secrets and programs tied to military defense and UFOs. Richard Eskridge, he did not want to be interviewed, but he told me on the phone.
Of course, he worked for NASA, and he's the only person that was a parent to one of these, 11 scientists that went missing that I have seen say something about it. But of course, he's going to deny the connection.
Scientists die also, just like other people. Nicole?
All right. So Nancy, there are already questions before this newest one. We even have lawmakers weighing in. I mean, what more can you tell us about maybe what happens next?
Yeah, well, the mystery surrounding these scientists, it's definitely taken on a life of its own on the web, where all kinds of conspiracy theories abound. There's even talk of a murder conspiracy targeting people who supposedly know too much. 2 of the scientists' deaths are cases of murder, and a number of disappearances are people who weren't considered suicidal. In the case of Monica Reza, the experienced hiker went missing during a hike last year here in Southern California. She had worked with General William McCasland, a so-called UFO gatekeeper, who also went missing just 2 months ago.
Now, that's the stuff that we were talking about in the video that we did a couple days ago, right? So Amy Eskridge, there's a video on here that was released to the public. It's on YouTube. It's a couple of years old. It was released to the public shortly after she died. It's a 3-hour interview. It's like her last interview, baby. Basically, it's not even an interview. She's having a conversation with a friend. They're doing a little drinking and just having a conversation about UFOs and her research. And she goes into how her life has been threatened, getting very serious death threats, basically being stalked, her house being ransacked, all kinds of stuff that would turn a normal person into, like a very paranoid person. You know what I'm saying? Like when you feel that someone is trying to end your life based off of the work that you do. She talked about all that stuff. There was one that I found that was time stamped, and I skipped through a bunch of it, just, kind of getting myself familiar with some of the things that she was talking about. I'm not going to show any of that here because I want to kind of sum this up, because a lot of those clips took her a very long time to get to the point. So let's check out this clip really quick.
About 10 scientists that were either all dead or missing, right? And they're all connected to space-time manipulation technology. There's an 11th. Her name was Amy Eskridge. She was 34 years old, and she lived in Huntsville, Alabama, which is quite literally NASA's backyard. I was just there. Anyways, both of her parents worked for NASA. Her father was a plasma physicist, and Amy, she was researching gravity modification, which sounds like science fiction until you remember that gravity is space-time, right? Einstein proved that. If you can modify gravity, you are bending space-time itself. That's not fringe, people. That is physics, right? She founded something called the Institute for Exotic Science, specifically to bring this research public. And she said, and I quote, "If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices. If you stick your head out in private, they will bury you." She said that in 2020. 2 years later, she was dead. Official ruling was a self-inflicted gunshot, right? No police report released, no autopsy findings made public. Then a retired UK intelligence officer investigated her case and submitted his findings to US Congress, right? His conclusion, it was not a sewer slide. He documented multiple attacks against her, including someone using a DEW against her, which is a direct energy weapon, and it left burns across her entire body. FBI initially showed interest, and then they dropped it. The Institute of Exotic Science dissolved shortly after her death. The website went dark. The research, it's gone. 10 scientists that I showed you yesterday, all connected to the technology that could change how we move through space. And now, number 11, the woman who was working on the foundational physics underneath all of it. She told us exactly what would happen to her, and nobody listened. So who's next?
You know, it's crazy. When I start hearing all this talk about, you know, bending space time, when we basically get into all this Doctor Strange, Marvel type of stuff and how we travel through space. Who's traveling through space? What is traveling through space? Who is riding through space? No one travels through space, first off. No one travels. We don't go in space and ride around up there. So all of this, it doesn't even matter. Someone said this tech would upend the world economy. 0-point energy and interstellar travel would change humanity forever. What do you mean interstellar travel? What do you mean? Unless I can directly see someone create a portal right in front of my face, walk through it, end up somewhere I don't even know, and come back through that same portal, there's nothing I would ever even believe about this. Somebody said that's not possible. Gravity bends space, and with it, it bends time. You cannot create artificial gravity. We don't even know why gravity exists. Are there specific gravity particles? Why does it bend the fabric of space? We aren't in the realm of understanding to start intentionally bending space. Someone said apparently it is possible, and people are getting unalived over it. Even whistleblowers are coming out saying we have the tech. Gravity doesn't bend space. The presence of matter alters the fabric of space-time, which results in gravity, which is just a theory. Gravity has always been a theory. And yes, that means in theory, if you can manipulate the fabric of space, you may be able to find a way to accomplish distant travel without breaking any rules regarding the speed of light. I guess a lot of this stuff goes back to CERN as well. Physics is quickly becoming a dangerous field of study. So we see that she was basically unalived for her research, right? So y'all remember we were talking about Dr. Ning Li, right? So I am going to read y'all a little bit of this right here. And I found this on Reddit. Also found it on another article, but it wanted me to sign up to be able to read it, right? So it says, after migrating to America from China in 1983, Li began working at the University of Alabama Huntsville Center for Space Plasma and Aeronomic Research. Now, Huntsville, same place that the lady Amy Eskridge worked as well. She became famous and somewhat controversial for a series of papers she co-authored from 1991 to 1993. In her work, Li described a practical method of producing an anti-gravity field, which had never been done before. It's always been held that because gravity is a basic force of nature, constructing an anti-gravity machine is theoretically impossible. However, Li and her co-author, Douglas Torr, theorized ways around this belief using a high-temperature superconductor. Says using about 1 kilowatt of electricity, Li claimed her device could produce a force field that would effectively neutralize gravity above a 1 foot in diameter region extending from the surface of the planet to outer space. Once again, y'all, you have to believe in outer space in order to believe in all of this technology. They're doing something for sure. They are for sure doing something. Maybe they're trying to create their own universe without the presence of God. I've always believed that. So let's, I'm not going to read everything, just, try to keep it simple, get to the facts. So in the late 90s, she claimed to have created anti-gravity devices that were fully functional. And this was big news in both scientific journals and mainstream press. After 2003, she seemed to disappear off the face of the earth, and people were still trying to figure out what happened to her to this day. So this is where, the questions begin. And her story is very well known and all over the internet, right? 1999, Li left UAH to start her own company, AC Gravity. Now, this is the same thing that the girl Amy did. She started her own company to bring it more public. And then next thing you know, she ends up out of here, right? So her colleagues obviously believed in her work as the chair of UAH's physics department. She got some people to join her basically, and public records show that in 2001, the U.S. Department of Defense, the DoD, gave AC Gravity a grant for basically $500,000 to research the technology. However, these results were never published. In fact, Dr. Lee never published anything again. And even though the business license for AC Gravity was updated yearly through 2018, there's no record of any further work done by the company. Lee's career after 2002 is the subject of great mystery. So this lady and her work vanished, y'all. The trail on Lee ends after her last documented correspondence in May 2003, when she sent a private email to colleagues claiming to have conducted an experiment in which she observed an 11 kilowatt of output effect. The significance of that amount is still a mystery as well. Her absence did not go unnoticed. In 2004, journalist Tim Ventura sent the email to another scientist in the field named Eugene with the subject line tracking down Dr. Ning Lee, right? So in July 2008, a scientist named Jack Sarfati provided a rather alarming update during an interview that was later posted on YouTube and included in the video of a very popular YouTube channel that did a video about Dr. Ning Lee that got millions of views, right? So there was basically claiming that Dr. Lee had stopped working for the DoD and moved back to China to continue her work. So it turns out that people were able to get a hold of her son. And her son said that she never went back. She never left the DoD. She never left the country. Although China did try to recruit her, she never left the U.S. and continued work in China, right? Now, this is where it gets a little crazy. Dr. Lee was actually continuing her work at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. And in 2014, she was struck by a vehicle while crossing the street on the campus, basically, that all of this stuff started at. That accident created brain damage, permanent brain damage. And she immediately started to suffer. She immediately got Alzheimer's disease. And she ended up passing away in 2021. Now, when she got hit by that car, her husband had a heart attack in that very moment. He ended up dying a year later. So it ended up being a very tragic end to the son's parents' life. Now, she died at 79 years old. So she would have been, 73, 72 when she actually was hit by the car on campus where all of this stuff started. And from 2002 up until 2014, there was nothing, just gone. She was so gone that they thought she was in China. And no one could even find out, or no one even knew that, hey, she was actually still in Alabama, if that's exactly, what I'm getting from this story. But let's listen to this other clip from Amy Eskridge, and we'll wrap this video up, y'all.
And let me tell you, I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I know I've said that several times. We're the Rocket City. We're the biggest steal you've never heard of. Von Braun was here and we won the space race. We developed the Saturn V here. We built the Saturn V here. We won the space race here in Alabama, whether you've heard of it or not. And I can tell you for a fact, so many prototypes. Only prototype built like this in the world. You turn it on the first time, it works exactly like you thought it would the first time. Great data. You apply for more funding to test it more thoroughly, they cancel it. It goes to NASA divestment. It goes to the auction block. People bid on it. And literally scrap metal vendors win the bid and melt it down for scrap metal and sell it. We could be crazy far. We could be on the moons of Jupiter. We could be exploring Pluto that isn't even a planet anymore if we had spent money differently. I can tell you the names of so many NASA scientists that are depressed and they want to kill themselves because they have built
Bleep that
prototype after prototype after prototype in Huntsville, Alabama. First in the world, never before seen, worked the first time you turned it on exactly like you thought. It was canceled and melted down for scrap metal.
Who's gonna tell these people that we ain't going to Venus and damn Jupiter? Don't they be saying Venus be like the closest planet to the moon? Y'all know some of them nights where you can see that really bright star and it be like right next to the moon? Ain't that what they be saying is Venus? Y'all gotta forgive me because I just don't believe in space the way that they try to keep this lie going. Who the hell is flying to Jupiter and Venus and Serenus? Who going up there? Who? That's the thing about all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing I can really is really like grab a hold onto, and it makes me think if it's possible, is CERN, and when they're trying to open portals into the veil. That is what I can believe is very possible, that they try and they can do it for a split second or however long, you know, however long they can actually hold that portal open. That's the stuff I can be like, okay, yeah, I can see that actually being some shit that's going on. But this anti-gravity, traveling through space and bending space-time and doing all this, I just can't get with this. So these people, you know, they dying for nothing. I don't care what anybody says. They dying for nothing because we not going nowhere. Ain't nobody going up there. They just lied about them folks going up there just recently. All right, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one, man. Very interesting, though. Very interesting. Regardless, there's something going on. And I would like to know more. For sure. Let me know what y'all think about this one. Black Balloon. And I'm going to see y'all soon, all right? I'm out.